Hi everyone, this is Kirstie from the Nature Garden. I hope you're all okay. I hope you're getting out once a day and enjoying nature, and I hope you are staying calm. We're looking forward to seeing you again at the Nature Garden. In the meantime, I am here to talk about snails. Now, lots of you will know that I really love snails. I know it's not everybody's kind of favourite thing. Some people see them as a pest. There's lots of reasons why I like snails. They are very old. They're 500 million years old, approximately. Just put that into some context. The first human fossils were dated at between 2 and 6 million years old. So they're so much older than we are. They cover the globe. So they're most places in the world. They live up mountains, they live in deserts, they live in oceans, in ponds, in gardens. They live everywhere. They're so adaptable. And the other reason I love snails is that they're really beautiful. I think they're really beautiful. So we have some snail shells here today. There's various different shells you can see, lots of different shapes. Now the majority of these are from the ocean. Some of these are pond snails. Now this is a pond snail from the Nature Garden. That's a ram's horn snail. Some of these are land snails. So this is just a common garden snail that you will see in your own back garden. This is another type of garden snail. Now this is from Europe really. You'd see these maybe more in France and Spain. The snail we're going to look at today is this one. It is a giant African land snail. Now you'll think that this doesn't look very giant, but this is of a very young snail. It's very, very small, but very pretty, as you can see. So let me just grab one of those for you. Right, okay. So you'll see that I'm just going to spray some water on my hand because snails, as you know, like it quite slimy because they are quite slimy. Now, snails are gastropods. That's a very long word. I'm just under here. Gastropod means stomach foot. Okay. Now, it's stomach foot because that's really what it is. So this bit at the bottom, this big slimy bit that you'd think was its stomach is actually one big foot, one big muscle. And it produces a mucus, a slime, we would say. Underneath it, and it helps to slide that foot along. Now you can see it's very, very pretty. These lumps are called whorls. Now African land snails are from East Africa. There's lots of different types of land snail. The biggest land snail, African land snail, has grown to about just under 40 centimeters. So you'd be looking at about this big. Very, very large. This one won't get as big as this. It might get to about that size. Now it's just coming out to see us now. So if I just turn around, you'll see it's got two longer tentacles, which are just coming up now. They are as eyes. You'll see like a creamy, sort of slightly yellowish ball to the top of them with a black dot in the middle. That's its eyes. Snails do have some vision, but they have really poor vision. They can really notice the difference in light. When I take the lid off the tank, they react to the change in the light, so they'll pop their head in, but they are practically blind. So just turning our snail up there, the smaller tentacles on the bottom of its face are what it uses to smell. They're basically its nose. They have a really good sense of smell. They can smell food from several feet away, which is good because they're very greedy. And if you can see its mouth does not run side to side as ours does. It opens up, down like that and flaps open like that. Snails eat huge amounts of food. They are on the list for this type of snail. It's on the list for the number, there's 100 most invasive species in the world. So some countries it's illegal to keep them, and certainly illegal to release them. You cannot release them in the UK, and you certainly can't release the eggs into the wild. Now the eggs are very small, so about half a centimetre big, in a nice sort of yellowy creamy colour. Snails will have between 200 and 500 eggs in a clutch. They can have up to 6 a year, and 90% will survive. So we're looking at one snail producing a minimum of 1,000 snails a year, which is why they are so dangerous to crops. They can eat huge amounts. They eat about 500 different fruits and vegetables, and they do like to eat. One question I get asked all the time is, firstly, do they breathe air in the normal way? They do. They have a hole underneath them which they breathe through. It's called a nemastome. It's a great word, nemastome. Now it's hard to see with an active snail because as I turn him over, he'll hide that. Now I will show you with this one. This is a hibernating snail. Now you can see there's a split in that crust just under there. Do you see that little split? It's about a centimetre big. That's the nemastome. That's the hole that it will breathe through. Now that's the other question I mainly get asked, is about hibernating creatures and hibernating snails. Are they just asleep? Hibernation is not the same as sleep at all. When you sleep, you rest your brain. Basically, that's what sleep does. You're resting your mind. When a creature goes into hibernation, lots of physical changes happen to their body. A snail will basically slow down everything, slow down its vital organs to use less energy. And that maintains itself for huge periods of time. So usually they hibernate for a few months, but they can actually hibernate for up to 3 years. Now when this, you can just see, this is made of calcite, which the word calcium comes from. Now we need calcium to keep our teeth and our nails strong. They need it to keep their shell strong, but also to produce this thick layer that they will seal themselves into when they hibernate. When this snail comes out of hibernation, I will hear a crack where it just starts to break through this crust, and I'll see the air hole, the nemastome, opening up, and it will start to move, and it will start to breathe in a normal way, and it will start to just move and get hungry. It will be a little bit sluggish when it first wakes up, excuse the pun, but they soon get out of that, and they do hibernate. Most years they hibernate. So let me just turn this over. This is a much larger snail and much heavier, I can tell you. It's a much older snail though. This one is only about 2.5 years old. They get quite big quite quickly. So we looked at its shell and we talked about how it keeps its shell nice and healthy, and I said you need lots of calcium. The other question I get asked is, if you break a snail shell, will it die? Honest answer is that it depends on how badly broken it is. Now this is Kamili. Kamili is an African word meaning flawless, and I called Kamili that because, as you can see, his shell is pretty battered. Now, he used to live somewhere else and he didn't get the right things in his diet. So he didn't have a lot of calcium. So his shell was in a bad way and he had a big hole in it. I took him to the Royal College of Vets and they built him this shell, which looks very weird. It looks like it's made out of pink wax, and you can see this odd brown bit on it there. That's basically like a bandage covering the hole to protect him. And then it's sealed in with this resin, this pink wax. So he looks very odd. But he's been like that for a couple of years now. And he's getting on fine. And he has a girlfriend. And he's very happy. So I talk about them as being boys and girls. They are actually hermaphrodites, which means they're both girls and boys. But you tend to get the same snails producing eggs each time. So I tend to just call them the girls. And Kamili doesn't produce eggs himself, so I call him a boy. There's Kamili. So let me just pop Kamili here. The other thing I have, let me just spray. So these snails, they are called fulicas. I have another type of African snail called reticulatas that are also from East Africa, but a slightly different place in East Africa. Now, as you can see, It's still an African land snail, but the shell is very different. It's really pretty, really highly patterned. Now this one is an albino. Now lots of different creatures will have albinos. Human beings can be albinos. It just means it has a different pigmentation to its skin. If it wasn't an albino, it would be brown like our Fulica friend over here. But it is, so it's this lovely yellowy, creamy colour. And it's smaller at the moment, but this one will actually probably grow larger than the Fulica here. It will probably grow more to that sort of size, but it's only about a year old at the moment. But as you can see, well, I think it's really pretty. So there you go. That is why I love snails. Some people, they're a pest and they're just really slimy and they don't like them, but I happen to think they're really pretty. Take care, guys. I will see you soon. Bye.